Alright, so now that we made our DM command, I'm gonna work a bit on player death. So when you die, you respawn in DM. So go to player death. Alright, and here you need to consider two cases. The first case is when the killer ID is known, and the second case is when the killer ID is unknown. For example, the player jumps off a building, kills himself, or an explosion. In that case, the killer ID is unknown because you killed yourself. So make two cases. If killer ID equals invalid player ID, then everything here, our code, else if killer ID isn't invalid player ID, and is player connected killer ID, then our code. This is important because if the killer ID is unknown and you have, for example, if you want to keep a record of your kills, so when you kill someone, if the player kills himself and the killer ID is unknown, and you're trying to increase the player kill variable, the killer ID, then it will give some random error. And that's what was happening in the first versions of a Dead Zone. When someone in the round would jump and die, he would spawn in the round again. So you will get all sorts of random errors. So now to send a kill list message, type send death message. If you can see, it's killer ID, Kelly, and the weapon. So in here, our killer ID is invalid player ID. So put invalid player ID because we don't have any killer. The player killed himself. Player ID. Player ID will always be known. And then reason. That's the weapon that you died. And for this one, put send death message killer ID, player ID, reason. Okay, now if player killer ID in DM was true, so if the killer ID was true, if the killer ID was in the DM, then you should set his HP to 100. So if I killed you in a DM, my HP should set to full automatically. So type set player health killer ID 100. Set player armor killer ID 100. Okay, so this will set the killer ID's HP to full if they killed you in a DM. You don't need to do that in here because there's no killer ID in here. And if you died, you will get full HP anyways as soon as you spawn. Because you will be re-added to the DM. So now normally in here, if you died, it will just spawn you in the lobby because there's no record of which DM you were in. We need to type player ID and DM equals false, because if the player died, you want to set reset their stats of DM. Now we will make another variable to keep a record of which DM the player was in. So come to your player variables, type DM readd DM readd. go to OnPlayer Connect, because you want to reset this to every player that joins the server. DM read equals 0. I'm gonna put it DM read equals 0 because our DMs start from DM1. They don't start from DM0. But if your DM starts from DM0, then you should put -1. Here I'm gonna put 0. So go to your DM command. Now, once we got the DM ID, so once we spawn the player, maybe here, type player ID, DM read equals DM ID. So now we know which DM the player was in. Go to OnPlayer Connect. OnPlayer Spawn. Below the ignore spawn, type if player ID DM spawn was bigger than 0. So if the player was in a DM, then put our code here. Now, to respawn the player in the DM, I'm gonna make another function. Go to your DM command, because I'm gonna copy some stuff from the DM command itself. Type spawn in DM player ID DM ID. Spawn in DM player ID DM ID. Now to spawn player in the DM, we reset again. We do the same thing. Reset player weapons. Set player virtual world. Set player health and armor. The location of the DM. You don't need to send a message every time the player spawns in the DM. You do need this. Ignore spawn player. And you don't really need this. So just type in DM equals true. Okay, now that we have this, I'm gonna leave it in here for now. DMs spawn in DM. Go back to your OnPlayer spawn. Type spawn in DM player ID player ID DM read, because this is the ID of the DM that the player was in. Okay, so now this should spawn you in the DM. So as soon as you die, it will respawn you in the DM that you were in. And you might want to create DM quit as well, or quit DM. So spawn in DM quit DM player ID. So to quit DM, reset player weapons. Type player ID and DM equals false, and player ID DM read equals 0. Spawn player ex player ID. We don't need to set spawn info because this is just gonna spawn you in lobby. And that's it. Then you can make cmd dmq player ID to quit DM params, and just type quit DM player ID. Okay, I'm running out of time in here, so but the first error was the DM ID, because I put DM ID, it should be capital DM ID because it's capital in here and same capital here.